All right, we are nearly ready to start installing our luxuries in our 1993 Toyota Coaster bus. And the first thing that we want to install on the list is the aircon. In Australia, it gets really hot. And for us, we're going to be living in our bus for the next 3 to 5 years. So it's really important that we get something to cool the bus down, because definitely up in the Northern Territory and Queensland and even WA, things get really warm. So we've partnered up with Caravan RV Camping and Truma to get a Truma Underbunk Aircon that can fit within our bus and not on the roof. I just want to quickly talk about electricals and what you need to power the system. The Truma is a 240 volt system, so it runs on the same power as your normal household appliances run. You can't run it on a 12 or 24 volt system. So you need to install an electrical system that allows you to power it. Now, most caravans have a system where you just plug into outside power at a caravan park or at your house, and that gives you 240 volts. However, we wanted to run the aircon being off grid, and so what we have is a 7.6 kilowatt hour battery system. We have a 3000 watt Victron inverter, which allows us to transfer that 24 volts that we normally have in our power pack into the 240 volts that the Truma needs to power itself. We have 960 watts of solar on the roof. So that basically means that we can run the aircon during the day with very little depletion in the battery when the sun's shining. And at night, we could probably run the aircon maybe 6 to 7 hours before that battery is completely depleted. So the thing about an Underbunk Aircon is it is just that. It lives inside your bus or your caravan, underneath your bed or under cabinetry or whatever. So for us, we needed to build our cabinetry first, and we wanted to build a bit of a frame underneath our bed that housed both our systems actually, our aircon and our diesel hot water system. So we just went ahead and just used this aluminium framing material. You can use whatever you want to go ahead and create the space, but just make sure that the space that you create can fit the aircon and has ample amount of space for the ducting and the electrical cables as well to fit around. After you found your spot for the aircon, the next step is to use the template to cut the holes for the airflow in and out of the aircon. Now, the airflow needs to come from the bottom of your caravan or bus. So when designing your space, it's really important that you figure out what is underneath your bus to make sure that you can actually cut holes underneath and you're not cutting into subframing or anything like that. It definitely took us quite a bit of measuring to get that perfect spot. But once we thought we had it right, we used some pilot holes, so just drilled some small pilot holes to make sure it was absolutely perfect. Then we went ahead with the jigsaw to cut the rectangular parts and a 50mm hole saw to cut the drainage holes. All right, one last install tip just before you go ahead and put the aircon down onto the floor. I just noticed that I would like some kind of dust seal around where the intake and outtake is. Just because we drive in a lot of dusty conditions here in Aussie, red dust gets absolutely everywhere. So I prefer if that didn't enter my bus. So what the caravan people recommended is just this it's basically this, it's not really double-sided, it's one-sided sticky and then the other side is sealed edge. It's almost a little bit sticky, but not really. And that would be just a nice little dust protector just to go around those intake holes. Truma provides you with some mounting brackets to put on the front and the back of the aircon. You can just use the template to screw those mounting brackets in. After that, you just use the provided strap to strap your aircon down. For us, definitely, I'm not too sure about this just one strap over it. So later on, I might add just another little ratchet strap just to double secure it. For us, we're four-wheel driving, and definitely at the back of the bus, currently where this is at the moment, you get that kind of little bit of a spring, a bit more of a jump. So I think later on, all I'll do is just screw some eyelets in and then a small little ratchet strap, maybe just another one of these over the top. Looking good. Now we just need to run the ducting
and box her in.
So the aircon needs an air inlet on the inside of the bus so it can take warm air or cool air, whichever way you're using it, from the main cab area, and then obviously transfer it to whatever you want cooling that is pushed through. So you need a vent that can access the main cab area. For us, the only way we can put a vent that can easily transfer air through to the aircon where we've positioned it is underneath our wardrobe right here. So I'm going to put it there. So if you can see behind here, where this ends will actually be a fixed backing, maybe a drawer actually that comes out, but that'll be underneath the bed. The bed will probably come up to here. So if I make it suck air out of the garage area, then that's not really circulating the air properly. So I want it to suck out of the main area up around the cab area. Therefore, it'll kind of recycle the air a lot better. So now Truma provides you with actually quite a good grill. Unfortunately for me though, the grill is black. So I'm not going to use this particular grill. I've gone ahead and I've purchased myself a white grill that is going to, be with our white cabinetry a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and install that. Yeah, just note that they do kind of provide these grills with the whole package. So it's easy install. Now what we're up to is installing the ducting vent. Basically, what came with both the diesel heater and the aircon is just these kind of little ducts. And basically what they do, if you can see, one goes one side, the other goes the other side, like that, and it goes flat against. So I've already pre-done one, so I'll just quickly show you what we're going to do. So basically what happens is you drill a 60mm hole, then it's going to sit like that basically, if that makes sense. This goes to the back, that goes to the front. So wherever you're screwing it in, this needs to be relatively thin, because if you're using a double thick base, if that makes sense, then this doesn't actually screw into this part here if it's too large. So it kind of only needs to be, about that size really. But really, and then this end right here goes into the ducting, and then you can see that little groove in there. The ducting fits into that groove, and then the black part clicks on the back. So it's pretty simple, pretty easy. They do provide these as well, which I think just helps with clipping them, maybe if you're doing them on the roof or anything like that. You can see I've just clipped that one to the side. That's what I've used it for, but I'm sure there's kind of different ways you can kind of use it as well. I guess you can use it kind of like that. Basically, because the way our setup is that we can't get ducting anywhere further to the front of the bus, because we didn't really plan overhead cabinets that the ducting could sneak through. So what I'm going to do is, for us, is I'm going to put 2 ducting holes here underneath this seat, and then I'm going to put 2 right here. So I'll show you how I drill it. I'm just using a 60mm hole saw. I actually only have 59mm hole saw, but it's pretty much 60mm hole saw. It's pretty simple. You just measure it up, make sure you know where it is. Forgot one thing. I'm just going to tape it so I don't do any damage around side. So there we go, 2 60mm holes. All drilled. Now let's connect them up. So this one side, and there. We'll have to clean it up a little bit later, but then you move over to here, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but there, screwed in both sides. What you need to do is just grab that and push that in there. I'm going to push that in because I'm just going to
correct the size, but yeah, that's how she all is.
So final thing you need to do before you can go ahead and turn your aircon on is you need to get a manual isolating switch and the electrical sorted by a registered electrician. There's two ways you can use your Truma Saphir Underbunk Aircon. First things first is with the supplied remote and receiver. Remote just works simple as any other aircon. You turn on to cool, set your temperature, and all's fine and dandy. The other thing is, if you have a Truma diesel heater or another Truma product, you can use the Truma control panel to manage multiple appliances. So this is what we do. We have a Truma diesel D6 hot water system, and we can actually set temperature manually using that control panel, and it can automatically switch between aircon or diesel heater depending on what temperature we've set. It's been about 6 months since installation, so how did the Truma Saphir Underbunk Aircon perform? First things first, we put it through a huge test. Traveling the Nullarbor in a 40-degree heat wave. So for 3 days, we ran it consistently, day and night. With our particular battery system, it was able to perform, and we were able to run it maybe about 4 to 5 hours at night while running it all throughout the day as well. It did perform well. However, it would have performed much better if we installed ducting in our roof or cabinetry, overhead cabinetry, rather than under our seat. Simply put, cold air sinks, so if you can plan ahead, put your ducting in the top overhead cabinets rather than down low. It still works down low, but this is something I'm probably going to change in the next couple months because it'll make cooling the bus far more efficient. Now this probably only applies to Toyota coasters or buses with a lot of windows, but you need to get yourself some good curtains, otherwise it's very difficult to cool the space when sun's beating in through the glass. It definitely heats everything up really quickly, so make sure you get some good curtains, or at least board up your windows or cover your windows on those really hot days. Otherwise, we found the aircon really couldn't keep up with the heat coming in. If you like this kind of video, hit the like and subscribe. We do have another video coming up for the Truma Diesel D6 hot water system, so click on the links probably around here to go check that out.